Hey, everyone, it's Isaya. Sorry about this. We were recording, but we were not live. So we are live now. This is another episode of the Isaya's Inspiring podcast. And this is the Round and Up She Goes series, and which is all about the menstrual cycle and the joys or sorrows of being a menstruating person. And this is episode 405 with the amazing Lisa Jara. We never remember which episode we are into, but we are generally talking about female health. And tonight we are talking about the gut. We're talking about the connection between the gut, the health, and the hormones. Before we go into anything deeper, hi, Lisa. And I'm
Hello.
going to introduce you again for anyone who's missed the previous episodes, which, by the way, you can go and listen to. And so Lisa is a menstrual and menopausal health specialist. She's helping women and menstruating folks alleviate their menstrual or perimenopausal health challenges in a holistic and natural way. She leads a quiet yet powerful revolution for sacred rebels ready to radically trust their own bodies, cyclical wisdom, release trauma, and internalize shame and erode patriarchy from the inside out. This is a huge program, but thank the goddess, it concerns half of the human population, so hopefully you will find people interested in this. I think it's basically, I love the program. I'm going to go on and see that. I love what you do, and I'm so annoyed that you are not a so much well-known specialist because you're not alone doing this work. Thanks to goddess, but there's still not enough people doing it. And I really hope for it that the conversations can help communicate the message that this is major for anyone menstruating to understand the ramifications of how much the menstrual cycle affects every part of our body. And today we're talking about the gut, which you mentioned when you sent me the little sum up for this episode. That it is the third most important system of our body. So of course I'm going to ask the dummy question and say, what are the first one, and what is the first and second ones, and where do this classification comes from?
Yeah, so that's what I definitely need to say first because I want to give credit to where it belongs, which is Dr. Perry Nicholson's work. As far as
Hmm.
I know, he was the one to set up this idea that our body has a hierarchy of systems, if you will. I don't necessarily believe in hierarchies. The thing is, we have different systems in the body. They are all important, otherwise, they wouldn't be here. But there are some systems that are more important for our survival than other
Hmm.
systems.
Hmm.
That's why where this hierarchy comes from. And the first is the nervous system, the brain basically. The second is the lymphatic system, our waste removal system.
Hmm.
And the third is our gut or our digestive system. And
Hmm.
they three together, they make up our immune system. So you
Hmm.
can see how important it is for our health that our nervous system, our lymphatic system, and our digestive system work well and
Yeah.
work well together.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that is really important to say. We've already talked about the nervous system and the lymphatic system in two previous episodes. So,
Yeah,
folks,
absolutely.
if
So
you
we're not
don't know anything about that, definitely go back and check that out.
check system number one, number two, but that doesn't mean that number three is less important. I mean, you can't just go on and pretend that, oh, we're just going to ignore the gut altogether.
No, it's actually I'm not sure if like the gut. No, it's possibly not more important than the nervous system, but those three are definitely of equal importance.
Hmm.
All three,
Hmm.
and that's also why they are so important that whoever I see as a client, I will address these three in the beginning. They must be the
Hmm.
foundation because the nervous system, and again, you can check out the full episode, but the nervous system is basically our brain, and it's is responsible for activation and non-activation, so basically
Mm-hmm.
relaxation. So activation, anything from, oh, I need to get up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to, oh, I have to run away from this tiger and get myself to safety. That is the nervous system that does it. And it needs to be counterbalanced with equal measures of rest and relaxation, otherwise, you will burn yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is always the foundation. And then we've got the lymphatic system, which again is your body's waste removal system. It ensures that all the cellular waste, toxins, germs, bacteria, viruses, all of that gets out of the body from the tissue all the way to the liver, and it takes care of our immune reaction. So whenever it
Mm-hmm.
recognizes something, it will start, like, give signals to start the production of antibodies, for example. And then the gut also holds a lot of that. The gut also holds a lot of lymphatic tissue.
Oh, interesting.
And the gut obviously is responsible for nutrients to get to where they need to go, into
Mm-hmm.
the cells, to like, for example, the sugars, the carbohydrates that our cells need to make energy and keep our body warm and alive, that gets, like, taken from the food in the gut. And then it is also connected to a lot of processes, and possibly also affects our emotional state. Like, the state of the gut can affect how you feel on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not the third most important, but of equal importance to the nervous
Yeah.
system
Mm-hmm.
and the lymphatic
Mm-hmm.
system. But what I think, and where I come from in my work, is that when these three are taken care of, basically everything else will sort itself out. So, for example, if you have a problem that is connected to hormones and your hormones are out of balance, I believe that when you take care of your nervous system and reduce the stressors, as many stressors from your life as you can, you got your lymphatic system in order so the waste can get out, and you make
Mm-hmm.
sure that your gut is working well so the good nutrients can come in.
Mm-hmm.
Then the hormones will take care of themselves. The
Mm-hmm.
body will
Mm-hmm.
make sure that everything else works. So that's
So
why
it,
I
it does
believe these
it
are really
means that
important.
these three systems altogether create, let's call it basic health, and so they're, if they're in a good shape, um, you're less prone to be attacked by viruses or by whatever. Am I correct?
Exactly, because your immune system, they all make up your immune system. So they will spot any viruses or whatever faster and make sure to transport it
Hmm.
off. I mean, of course, you're not invincible.
Yeah, no.
Things can always
Of course,
happen.
yeah. Of course, we're not
But
talking
I
plague.
think, like, and I mean, you only have to look at things like, even things like cancer, cancerous cells. Every body produces cancerous cells every day,
Hmm.
and they get transported off by the lymph
Hmm.
from the tissue all the way out of the body. But they can only get out of the body when your digestion is working well and you actually get it out with your poop.
Hmm.
If the digestion isn't working well, which is unfortunately the case for a lot of people in today's world, then the toxins and everything stays in the body and they just recirculate, and that can cause health issues.
Hmm. So the digestive system starts with the stomach, I'm guessing, with the
I
actual
would say it
digestion.
starts in the mouth. Actually,
Oh.
I read a really good book. I guess it's translated into English. I don't know the English title, but it's about the gut. And basically, it says that in the beginning there was two holes that are connected, because whatever you put into the mouth will go one way street down all the way to the other side. So we are actually, like, there is a big hole
A big
that goes
pipe.
through our body, a big pipe. And so it starts in the mouth with your saliva. Your saliva contains enzymes that break down the food in a
Hmm.
first digestive step. That's why it's so important to start there. and to start chewing your food, like really chewing your food several times. And I like to say 20 to 30 times per bite until there is this mushy, porridgey art, like flavor, taste, and not taste, the
Texture.
texture. Exactly. And when you do that, it will also slow down the speed of eating, which
Obviously.
means it will calm down the nervous system.
Oh,
So
that's
there
interesting.
where we see the first connection, right? They are all interconnected. None can work without the other. And
Obviously.
all of them influence each other. And then like the food goes down into the stomach where there's the acid and everything to break it down even further. And then it goes into the gut, where it then takes out the nutrients and, well, everything that's of no use at all. And our
Hmm.
bacteria, they are amazing, like the gut bacteria. The microbiome, as it is called, is the gut microbiome is the amount and variety of bacteria, like good bacteria, that we have in our gut.
Hmm.
And they are about, I think, 2 kilos
Wow.
heavy. Just the bacteria in your gut. And they are of major
And you want
importance.
them. And you want them there.
And you want them. There are certain ones that you want for a healthy gut microbiome.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, due to the nature of our food and the vast amount of sugar and processed foods and pesticides that we take in through the food, because everything is processed in some way, that can potentially destroy some of those bacteria that you want to
Hmm.
have there, and feed some of the bacteria that you do not want to have there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then the trouble starts. And then, of course, we also have things like toxins from the environment, like pesticides, but also there are a lot of toxic substances in, for example, cookware, that is still being sold today. And when they get into your body, they will disrupt your system, and they can make the gut lining thinner and thinner until it becomes leaky,
Hmm.
known also as something called leaky gut syndrome. And then, of course, there is different things that can get from your gut into your bloodstream that you do
Hmm.
not want to have in the
That they
bloodstream.
shouldn't. They should not. They're not meant to.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so
no,
there is like a
there's.
lot that we can do to take care
Yeah, I
of our
remember a
gut
few
health.
years back when I started reading around this topic, and I thought, what's all this about detox? I don't feel that I'm toxing myself that much. And then I started reading about what's the amount of toxins that we can ingest from everywhere. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I do need a detox. Obviously, like we all do, because mostly our very modern civilized world has produced more and more toxins for us to ingest, basically.
Yeah, and the thing is that these toxins, a lot of them are recognized by the body as estrogen. Now, estrogen is one of the most important sex hormones in a female body, estrogen and progesterone. And because all these toxins get recognized as estrogen, the ratio between estrogen and progesterone in your body is wrong. And it's called
Oh.
an estrogen dominance. When there is a ratio, there is usually more estrogen than progesterone. That's normal, but there is a certain ratio. And when you now have more estrogens without changing anything from the progesterone level, and to be quite honest, in a stressful life, we even decrease the progesterone level. So the gap is getting larger and
The
larger. And
ratio
that's
get, yeah.
where most of the female health problems come from. Estrogen dominance is connected to PMS, premenstrual syndrome, like intense mood swings and bloating before your period and migraines. It's connected to endometriosis. It's connected to painful bleeds, to a lot of perimenopausal health challenges. And really, if we can reduce the amount of toxins that we take in from our environment, Also thinking of cleaning products, using natural household cleaning products,
Mm-hmm.
looking at what do you put into your like what you wash your clothes with, like the detergent. There can be a lot of the perfume. Usually is not natural perfume. If you like it
Also, the
perfumed, then
all the
yeah,
everything, like from the toothpaste to the whatever shower gel,
face cream, shower
mhm,
gel, true. Yeah, those are
the house
things. And
cleaning
then
products, our own cleaning product, body cleaning products, or hygiene general, or and indeed perfume, the ones that we eat, so processed
toilet
food, sugar.
paper.
Oh, toilet paper, yeah, and the sorry, obviously the ones that are in the food, so pesticides and everything where you buy your food from. Um, yeah, that's a long list of things that are, oh, what's the English word for that? Not good for our health, basically, and that are
Yeah.
not very difficult to change.
Some of them, like there are by now quite a few companies that have natural products. I always buy my deodorant and my soap in special places where they do it by hand, like where they do it themselves. It's not a mass production. Yes, of course, I have to pay a little more, but to me, that is, it's worth it. And then, of course, I do things to support my lymphatic system because the lymphatic system again is the detoxification system, or like important to remove the waste and the toxins and the
Hmm.
fungi from the tissue so that it
So we
can
go
get out of the
for
body.
to bring back the ratio of estrogen and progesterone. We can do two things at the same time. One, ingest less toxins, so find ways, if we have the means, to maybe buy better or healthier products. What our cookware? You mentioned cookware, and I want to come back to that because this is one of the things that has been kind of forgotten. We talked about it in the 80s and 90s, and then everybody just like, oh, decided, okay, forget it. But actually, no, don't forget it. Go back to that. So it's how much we ingest and how much we can get rid of. So helping the lymphatic system do its job better. Um,
Yeah,
if we eat less and get rid of more, basically.
correct. And then I also want to mention that the gut, apart from the gut microbiome, so all the bacteria, it also houses the estrobolome, which is basically one of the components of your estrogen circulation in the body, like of your estrogen system,
Hmm.
basically. So when the gut isn't working well, your body can't really get rid of the excess estrogen
Oh,
because it
yeah.
doesn't work. So instead of the usual way, getting the toxins out via the poop or via urine, it just stays in the body and recirculates.
Hmm.
And there is even like if the estrobolome isn't working correct, there are certain things in your gut. If you've got an overgrowth of those, they will. So what the body does, it detoxifies from this estrogen, and then it makes it inactive basically, and then usually goes out via poop or urine. And there is a certain I would have to look up the name, but a certain substance that can be in your gut that makes this inactive estrogen active again and then recirculates it into your system. That's why it's so important to take care of your gut, because it will definitely influence your hormonal health.
It will retoxify, kind of almost recreate the
Yes,
toxin that your lymphatic system has been trying to destroy or to
exactly.
get rid of. Yeah,
Exactly.
so the
So
gut
that's
is
an important
plus
thing, the gut.
it's a very long system. If it does start from the mouth and goes to our asshole, basically, it's a very long place where things can happen in the mouth, in the various pipes, the stomach, and then the whole of the digestive tube as well. I don't know
And
how
then,
it's
oh,
called.
I forgot, you also have things like the liver that is involved in that, both in
Oh,
detoxification, but also in producing bile that then gets transported to the gut to digest. So there are a few other organs that also play into the digestive system and not just the tube.
So it's a huge system.
It's a huge system.
And it has so many how can I say that, different ways to be attacked and to function less correct, less well, basically.
Yes.
And so this, let me have you repeat that, because I think it's very, very important to be very clear about that. This happens for everyone, menstruators or not menstruators, right?
True.
We have a problem, etc., etc. Now, what happens with women or menstruators is that on top of that, it helps or makes it easier for hormonal problems to install.
Yes.
I
That's
really
true.
would like you for you to repeat that in a very loud way, because not loud,
Yeah, and
but
I'm
I
trying
think
to
it's
think of a way to make it easy. But basically, your gut it's is responsible to get every kind of waste out of the body, including the excess estrogen, including the already used estrogen, like the inactive estrogen, because of course your body needs estrogen and then it uses it, and then like
yeah.
the old needs to go. And if your gut isn't working, it will simply make those active again, for example, and it will not be able to eliminate this inactive
And the
estrogen.
extra estrogen
And the
in
extra
a
estrogen,
menstrual
exactly, that disrupts the menstrual health, or like the female health in general. Like whether you are still menstruating or whether you are post menopause, you still have estrogen and you still have progesterone. And if the ratio is out of balance, then you experience symptoms.
wow. Let me just say that, because it's kind of, that's why I wanted, that we repeat that, because it's kind of, it needs to be heard that we as women or menstruators, we have a possible action that has nothing to do with doctors, surgery, medicine, or anything of the sort. It's just like setting our systems in a better shape, helping our body to do the work instead of helping it to not do it, or to function less well.
Yeah, and I want to just say, like, what a lot of doctors will do is because they don't have a clue, or maybe they aren't aware of these interconnections, or maybe they just don't have the time because they sit in very rigid medical systems that don't allow them a lot of time for their patients. But then their solution is pill or hormones, hormone replacement therapy, or surgery. And the thing is, these things never address the underlying cause. So, for example, when you have endometriosis, that is when endometrial-like tissue starts growing in different places. For example, around your ovaries, even in your brain or in your lungs, and then that's the tissue that builds up every month and then bleeds. And that can sit in different places throughout your body, and that will cause horrific pain. What doctors do is cut people open and take out the tissue that's not supposed to where it is. The thing is, if it sits in the brain, if it sits in the lungs, how are they going to address that? They don't
Mm,
know. So even when you have surgery and they get away that part that sits maybe around the ovaries or around the uterus, there might still be more somewhere else in the body. And also because this condition is in connection with estrogen dominance again, and also
mhm,
with a lot of inflammation,
mhm.
and that doesn't get addressed. A lot of people who have surgery for endometriosis, they will have to have another surgery 4 to 5 years later, and maybe even after that, because it comes back, because the underlying issue isn't addressed.
And the
And
underlying
we need to look
issue,
at the gut.
let's repeat that, is the ratio between estrogen and progesterone is wrong. And that is the underlying issue for conditions, or one of the underlying issues that we could start addressing today, as in,
That's the thing. That's what I want to make clear. It's like it's not the only cause. I would never say there is only one
yeah,
cause
no.
because different bodies can have different causes, but we usually find endometriosis in a body that is also estrogen dominant. And then there is definitely one point that we can look at, and usually connected to endometriosis are gut issues. Things like
Hmm.
leaky gut, irritable bowel syndrome, SIBO is it called? Like when there's wrong bacteria settling in your gut. And so the gut again is a major, it plays a major role
Hmm.
in this too.
Well, what I feel like I want to say is, and what's the danger in trying to fix your gut? No danger. If you've got a female health issue that is bothering you, there is no problem in trying to fix your gut first. Not
Yeah.
enough. Good. There are other things that you can do on top. But this is kind of it seems like an easy enough solution.
Yes, and
So,
also I want I want to say that like I don't say don't do the surgery or don't take HRT or don't take the pill. Like it's your choice.
sorry, I'm just going to
But I
go
want you
for
to make
HRT stands for
oh
hormone replacement therapy.
hormone replacement therapy, which is something that is
Correct.
often given to people who experience perimenopausal health challenges like night sweats, insomnia,
Hmm. Hmm.
weight gain, brain fog, joint
Yeah, my
aches, all
mother
these
had
things
those.
in perimenopause.
My mother had those.
Okay.
She was forced into perimenopause because she had a hysterectomy, and then she had those,
Yeah.
and she doesn't remember that as a fun period, as a nice period in her life, actually. But just one person. Um, so yeah, I interrupted you saying you were not the person to advise not to go to surgery or not to have
I
HRT.
sometimes come across as someone who is totally against HRT because I'm outspoken that I don't believe HRT is the answer.
Hmm.
But those are two different things. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I
I
agree.
judge you when you take it. And for also with the pill, the birth control pill, the thing that I want you to make is an informed decision considering different angles on this thing. And sometimes it can be helpful to maybe take hormones for a while you so that the symptoms can be reduced
Hmm.
while you are working on the underlying issue.
Hmm.
You know,
Besides,
and the
it doesn't seem like an either or situation where you have to make one choice and just do that. Because even
correct.
if I was to completely believe you and do nothing but what you advise, there are three systems already. So I need to take care of all three. So it's not an easy just grab one thing and it'll fix everything.
Yeah.
It seems like what you're suggesting is that we might be well informed to look at our body as a global thing, and not as a take a bit of, the problem is the ovaries, or the problem is the
Yeah.
belly, or the problem is, and consider that our bodies are a huge and complicated mix of systems, and that we might need different approaches.
Yeah, and that's what very often happens. It's like, oh, you've got, I don't know, a young girl has started her bleeding and is experiencing trouble. Oh, take the pill because you've got acne. It will regulate your your
Hmm.
cycle. Like, that's bullshit. It
So
will
many
not.
girls.
But it's
I've seen
like
so many
it's
girls.
a hormonal problem, or even with perimenopause, people say it's a hormonal problem. It's not. It's connected to hormones, of course, because everything in our body is connected to hormones. But it's not the hormones that are the problem. Hormones are messengers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shoot the messenger. And what I see a lot of coaches do is then, oh, I need to get a test. We need to test and assess, is it too much estrogen, is it too little estrogen, is it too much progesterone, is it too little progesterone. And there can of course be some valid things in there. And also, again, I believe that when your nervous system, your lymphatic system, and your gut are okay, this will sort itself out because your body is clever.
Mm. Yeah.
Our bodies are so clever. But we need to prepare the environment
Mm-hmm.
so that it can regulate itself again. And that doesn't, like, even when we say with the toxins and of course food, when you think of digestion, I don't say it has to be all very rigid and strict. I say 80% healthy choices and 20% fun.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the healthy choices become a little bit of fun too. So,
Well, I've just come back from, I'm literally jet lagged from New York, where I was for a week. And I have to say, I'm longing for healthy food. It's like, oh my God, I can't eat shit anymore. It's like literally, it's like, please give me real vegetables and alive food. And I'm not, I've got health weight issues, so I'm not the very strict healthy eater. But I think that after a while, what you do find that the healthy options are fun because they're better. Actually, I mean,
you
the
feel
are
better.
I feel better, and also the taste buds, I'm sure, change back to finding that I can't have sugar anymore. It's like I don't like it. It's everything that is too. Oh, sorry, I'm pushed the wrong button. Um, when it's too sweet now, I feel like it has no taste, but the taste of sugar, and I can't stand it anymore. So I'm pretty sure that you can re-educate your taste buds to like things that are
Yes.
more healthy.
And that's a very intelligent thing that your gut does. Because your gut, the microbiome, the bacteria,
Mm-hmm.
they tell you what they want you to eat. They literally inform what you want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, when there's the, say, wrong kind of bacteria that are unhealthy, they want you to eat more of the unhealthy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when you retrain, like when you for a while you watch your food a little more strictly maybe, and you incorporate these healthier options, those bacteria that feed on the processed food,
Mm-hmm.
they will die, and those who feed on the healthier food will grow, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore they will inform you to eat more of that because that's what they grow on. And so it's maybe not just your taste buds that change, but also because you're literally
Mm-hmm.
changing your gut microbiome that informs what you're longing for and what you're
Yeah.
craving.
So a good idea would be to starve the wrong ones or the unhealthy ones. Um, it's interesting because I've been reading a lot around cancer these last few weeks, months, and it's the same vocabulary. They discuss about starving the cancer cells, and so it's basically um, really kind of important what we eat. Let's put it this way. But I never realized how linked to specifically female health it is. And I think it's, I'm not sure it's widely enough spread, this information. So,
And by
in-
the way, it's not just the food that influences your gut. Things like movement. Do you get up during the day or do you sit a lot?
mhm,
Have your belly organs room to move? Or are you
mhm,
sitting slouched and
yeah.
they don't
Mhm.
actually have any space to go? How is your breathing? And I know that we've talked about that in every single episode.
Yeah, yeah.
How important the breath is. And again, it's
But
so important.
I think it's basic. Like, it's kind of, yeah, we've talked about it every episode because it is important to the point where when you stop breathing, you literally die. So, all the other systems function.
Yes, and what I mean by breathing is using your diaphragm, which sits at the bottom of the rib cage, which should extend into the belly on inhale. So, like really massaging your gut
Mhm.
organs with every single breath so that they can stay flexible and smooth and they are activated to do something
Hmm.
and to
Yeah.
get the digestion moving.
So definitely there are a few easy, simple, let's call them simple, things that one can try to help their gut health, which in turn might help their female health. So move, breathe, watch your
Drink,
food, drink,
drink
obviously,
enough, chew,
drink water.
water.
Let's put it this way, because I've spent a week watching other people drink alcohol, and I'm like, oh no, this is not this is not hydration. Don't. So drink, chew, um, and that's a hard one because we have this tendency to want to go fast through eating, and so yeah, indeed, slow down while you eat and chew enough, and then watch.
And instead of give like, because what often happens is the mind is racing to the next to do or whatever
Mhm,
to
mhm,
keep stay occupied. Give your brain something to do while you are chewing 30 times, and give it the task to observe how how the taste changes the longer you chew this one
mhm,
bite,
mhm.
because that's what happens when the enzymes do their work. The taste of that mouthful changes,
Can we
and you
go on a
can really.
small tangent? Oh, sorry, finish.
Yes, we can.
So I was going to go for something that I have noted in the last, I'm old, so 30 years. It's that food has become pre-chewed. When I was younger and I was a child, everything was harder to chew. We used our teeth way more. Now it's all, there's a lot of food that is processed, and the processed food is pre-chewed for a lot of it, or at least feels pre-chewed. So, for instance, all the mousse substances, whether it's a cake or whatever, now it's fashionable to have those things that literally melt and you don't chew them. You cannot chew them, even if you tried, because they transformed into liquid so easily. So I'm socially asking as a society, well, that's what I mean by socially, are we indeed the processed foods? Are they literally, are we kicking ourselves in the butt, in
We
the foot,
are. We
by
are.
creating foods that are unchewable? If solution number one is chew more, but you can't, it means you have to go back to. I was saying I was in New York for a week. They have no bread. They have no idea what bread is. I like my bread to be chewable, dark and it's like, yeah, it takes more time. So first of all, for me, I get the feeling that I'm not hungry anymore because it takes more time to eat. And I think it's 20 minutes. If you eat in less than 20 minutes, the message does not communicate that you're not hungry anymore. So you keep on eating, basically. And then you just explained that if I chew better, the whole thing in the gut system gets better as well. So it might be actually mission number one is to find chewable foods. Just,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of that about the meat, because meat has become, when I was a child in Greece, I remember that meat was, hard. You had to chew because the animals were running around basically before
Yeah.
they were.
Muscular.
So now it's way less muscular, way less chewing. So it's yeah, it's interesting that your simple solution of chewing more means going on a quest to find chewable food, which is not that easy. Mostly on some, if you're listening to this from the US, good luck finding bread to chew. I mean, it's like, it seems to be a hard one. No, a soft one.
Well, bake it yourself. It's
Yeah,
not that hard actually. You don't
yeah.
need a lot of ingredients to bake bread yourself.
No, I've been investigating that
And
very much.
also, then you control what goes into the bread as well,
Exactly.
because most of the bread that you buy in the store, even here,
Hmm.
has more sugar than it needs to have.
Yeah, yeah. I was very surprised also as far as anything, we call that charcuterie in French, charcuterie. So any sausage or anything, they have sugar. Why the fuck do we need to have sugar in meat? I mean, like, sorry, why? I'm
To make
guessing
us
because
addicted, because sugar is an addiction.
yeah,
Like, it literally, our body will get addicted. And then we
mm,
need more and more. There are studies
mm,
that show that the sugar in processed food has grown over the last decades.
mhm. Okay,
And it's
so
cheap, you know, it's
yeah,
cheap to
that's
put
what I
in
was going to.
sugar.
I was going there. It's cheaper than meat, and it gets you addicted. So all advantages for the people selling the thing, obviously not for your body, as we have demonstrated in the last few minutes.
No, but for big pharma, because guess what's going to be prescribed
Yeah,
for all these issues?
obviously.
Medication.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, simple things, um, and watching all aspects of whatever your body gets in contact with, from the cookware to the detergents to the body wash and toilet paper. There is, yeah, there is and the food, obviously. There are so much there is so much that we can do. Um,
And
and
by the way, what I've grown to think is like we need more nutrient dense food, and we might need to think about supplementing. Like, I have never been one to say take supplements. The thing is that our soils don't contain enough nutrients anymore
Mhm,
to give us, our body, all the nutrients to make all the hormones, for example, that we need.
mhm,
And like, you can't even satisfy or fulfill the intake you need for certain vitamins that you need to produce your hormones from your
mhm.
usual food. That's how far it has come.
Wow. Okay. Let's not end on this bleak note. Let's remind our listeners that this is not the last episode that we will do together. There's another one, which the subject of which is not yet determined. So stay tuned for that. But please take your gut health into your hands today, and start with the simple, small things, and see, because I want to insist on that. You can see the results fast, very fast. I remember when I decided to cut down sugar. It's really not a long process, like you don't see any results for a year or something. It's really fast, and then it helps to see that you're feeling better, basically. As I was saying, a week in New York, and then I'm like, "Ah, I want some bread, some real bread. I'm gonna bake some bread." I'm jet lagged and tired, but the first thing that I jumped on this morning was a cucumber. So it's like, give me fruit
Oh,
and vegetables. And I think it's important to consider that it's your business, that it's not somebody else's, that you have the power, basically, to start changing your health, or at least helping your health.
yeah. Okay, so for something of a positive note, I have recently attended two conferences, 10-day conferences with 3 to 5 conversations each day.
Hmm. Hmm.
They unfortunately ran at the same time. One was about insulin resistance, and the other was on female hormonal balance. So,
Hmm.
absolutely my topics.
Hmm.
And on day 4, after watching, I don't know, 10 or so conversations, it was already apparent to me what the solution to everything is. Because different people were saying that in their respective talks.
Hmm.
And that is, have good quality and enough sleep so that your nervous system is relaxed. Um, have nutrient dense food, nutrient rich whole food, like and a big variety of different foods,
Hmm. Hmm.
different vegetables, for example. Um, have moderate movement. It doesn't have to be exercise. You don't have to go to the gym. Go for a walk 3 times a week. That can literally be it.
Hmm.
Cut down sugar, obviously, and have try to reduce stressors from your life. That
Hmm.
can be physical stressors that we've talked about. That can be mental stressors, beliefs that don't make you feel good. That can be emotional stressors. Um, but these four things, it is that simple. It is literally that simple.
Hmm.
What makes it complicated is that most of us have accumulated a fair amount of trauma and conditioning.
Hmm. Yeah. And we have to
And that there
reverse
there's
the
you
engine.
can have help for that. Yeah, and you can have support for that,
Absolutely. Talk to Lisa.
for example.
Well, we have to. So that's a good place to stop for tonight. Let me remind everyone that you will find all the information on how to reach out to Lisa around this video somewhere or this audio somewhere. So below, usually on my podcast, and there are a few things that you can. Sorry, that you can do. You can contact Lisa directly or watch her, follow her on the socials. But she also has a few freebies that you will have the links to. And I highly invite you to basically take your health into your own hands and work with someone that can support that, because we need the education. We also need a nice holding hand, because it's very lonely out there. If you have female health issues, you might feel that no one is listening. You might feel that endo is not treated at all, and that's a fact. I mean, there are so many people suffering and so little help. So, if you have PMS or difficult perimenopausal symptoms, do take things into your own hands, but don't think that you have to do it alone. There are people, Lisa being one of them, that can be of an immense help, and you can start changing your fate, basically, because it feels like fate when you're in the midst of shit. You can change that starting today. And with those four things that you mentioned previously, so sleep, breathe, nutrient dense food, and the stressors, and get better. I'm sure you will join me, Lisa, in saying that we do hope that all of you who are listening will get the impulse to change something that is not a fatality. It does not have to be that way forever. So get gutsy and change everything. Thank you so much, Lisa, for another amazing episode. I will see you in more or less a month, in June, for the last episode of our series. And for you who are listening, thank you so much for listening as well. You will find the previous episodes on my podcast, and all over, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. Please subscribe, and we love that. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.